5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Live? And we're live. Mr. Carmichael.
Hello, my friend.
Mr. Neighbors.
Hello, Joe.
I brought Jamar.
I know. Jamar, welcome.
Thank you, man.
Didn't
Thank
know you were coming, but glad to see you.
Man, me neither, man. He made me come.
He came by the house. He just came by. And I was like, I'm going to Joe Rogan. And he was like, I'm going to come. I was like, that's perfect.
Perfect. What the fuck is going on, man? What are you up to?
I just got in from New York like 2 hours ago. And now I'm here. I feel real. I don't know. I feel like you ever see like a homeless man smoking a cigarette?
Yeah.
And he just feels like real zen, and this is his. That's how I feel emotionally right now.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Like a homeless dude smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
What a weird analogy.
I feel it's great. It's really great.
I'm trying to figure that out. That feeling
It's like I have everything that I need right now.
in your life.
I have everything
Yeah.
that I need.
Yeah. But you've been killing it for a long time, man. You know, you were killing it when I wasn't at the store. I'd heard about you when I was gone. I'd heard about you. I think Ari is one who told me about you.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then I found out that Spike Lee directed your special. I was like, what? Like, what the fuck is happening over at the Comedy Store? You know?
Yeah,
Spike Lee's directing comedy specials?
That was a fun one because it was like just such a immediate. Like I was like, it has to be in the OR. Nobody filmed in the OR. And so, like, you know, getting everybody to agree to that.
Yeah.
And then, like, because even Spike was like, but the main room's right here. It's so big. And it's like, I was like, but I don't do the main room. I do the OR.
Yeah. The main room's pretty good, too.
That's
I
a good
used to be prejudiced against the main room. I'd be like, it's too big. It's too showy.
It depends on.
OR's dirty and grimy.
It depends on, like, you know, if the sides are full or open and what the room can change depending on, like, so many factors of, like, seating and whatever, just the sound of it.
Well, the room really changes when it gets empty late at night. Like, that's a strange room when, like, Brody's doing those midnight spots.
Those have been some fun spots to watch, just when Brody's just...
Yeah.
That was like, Tommy used to make me follow Brody like all the time. That's such a fun, interesting thing to do. To like, because what else is left?
Right.
At that point, you know
the
what I mean?
audience's
Like,
headspace.
yeah, they're in such a different place that it's just fun to piece it back together and figure it out.
Well, Jamar, you get a lot of those freaky spots.
Yeah, man. You ever had to follow Brian Holtzman?
Many times.
I'm like, no.
What happens with him?
Well, he's just so crazy. He'll say so much crazy shit that the audience is just like stunned. Like,
Yeah, it's like Brody times 20.
Really?
Yeah.
You never see Holtzman?
Funny as fuck.
Yeah, I don't think I have yet.
Oh my God. Dude, Holtzman said some of the darkest shit I've ever seen anybody say on stage. He went on stage after. Do you remember Susan Smith, that lady that drowned her kids? She was a lady that she drowned her kids.
Mm-hmm.
I forget like what the context of it was. Holtzman went on stage like 2 days later. Was like, I heard those were bad kids. I heard they sat that close to the TV. They never put away their blocks. They fucking spilt their milk. Those kids will not be missed. And people were like, what in the fuck?
When you say that, maybe I have heard Brian Holtzman.
Dude,
That
right
was
after
really
September
good.
11th, Mitzi wouldn't let him go on stage. She's
Oh.
like, keep him off stage. She wouldn't let him go up. She wouldn't let him go up.
Couldn't risk the potential like riot.
Well, he's a really funny guy and a really good comic, but he's never been a professional, like his whole life. He's
Yeah.
been doing comedy forever. When I came to the store in '94, Holtzman was already there. And he's never been a professional. He's always had a job. He's always been, he was a dog catcher, he was a meter maid, like a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
So he's never really branched out.
Yeah.
Eleanor was telling me how you fought Martin Lawrence's bodyguard.
Well, you could call it that. You could say, I would say Martin Lawrence's bodyguard beat the fuck out of Brian Holtzman. That's how I would say it. Martin Lawrence was heckling.
Over-
And Holtzman's on stage. He's saying crazy shit. And there's like 10 people in the room. And Martin was heckling, apparently. And Brian got off stage to point out that it was Martin Lawrence. He's like, look, this fucking rich, famous motherfucker's heckling me. Boom!
Oh, wow.
And he gets knocked out by
Oh, it
Martin
was that
Lawrence's
immediate.
security.
This wasn't
yeah.
even a parking lot thing. This was
I heard it was a showcase.
Is that what you heard?
That's what I heard.
Those stories get twisted, right?
Yeah.
Stories,
So funny.
stories get weird after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the dark days of the Comedy Store. That was like, I want to say that was like, I don't even know if that was the 2000s.
What is it now? I haven't really been in like I've kind of been, but is it now like still that place where you go experiment, try out?
I do.
Yeah.
Jamar is actually I go to see Jamar when I go. It's usually to at whatever 1 a.m. shit that
Right.
you know what I mean. That's like great.
I just hit him up and be like, "Hey man, I'm going up. I'm gonna do some crazy shit. You coming through?"
Oh yeah, I love it.
For those 1 o'clock sets, it's a different world. It's experimental. It's strange. It's kind of sad. There's a little bit of sadness in the room.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, the sadness. Oh, the
The
sadness.
sadness is those late night, because you're looking at your watch like, why am I not at home? Why am I not asleep?
Yeah.
I remember that feeling my first time going to the Comedy Store. Just being why am I sad? Just
Yeah.
like this thing that just weighs you. Like I remember feeling kind of like
Worthless.
No, just like kind of like depressed. It really feels like a ghost is choking you up. Like it's not like it's like a weird like.
Who's ghost?
Oh man, pick one.
Yeah, there's a lot of
from
ghosts.
like '89.
There's a lot of ghosts in that room, and they when everyone's gone. That's when they show up.
You think for real?
No, I don't think for real. Like you'll see them, but you do definitely feel like weirdness.
Yeah, no, there's a weird.
Especially when you bomb and you get that cold. Like, fuck you, Pryor.
Well, he bombed there too.
Oh,
There's some classic famous stories about Pryor bombing as he was filming live on the Sunset Strip. Like some of the sets.
Mythologic had the footage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Showtime doc had like the footage of that show.
Oh, the show where he was prepping, like where he was getting ready for
Yeah, well, no, like the show where it just didn't go, like, with
so they
Stevie
filmed
Wonder
a few
there.
of them?
Yeah, well, they filmed that strip show where he had to come back the next night and like kind of redo it. He just had like, he was just he operated from such a place of just like it was so it had to be honest to him. I think, and it hadn't gone up in a while and was on stage and was just like in the room and just sat in it. he just sat. The footage is crazy.
Send me that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really.
Who's
crazy.
got the footage?
Well, it's in the doc. You can see it in the
But
documentary,
is there-
like a little bit, but I think it's extended footage. I haven't seen the extended footage if that exists, but
There's some great old cassettes that I bought from like a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
There were Red Fox's comedy club. Red Fox had a comedy club, and Pryor would go up and just fuck around, man. Just fuck around. And there was many of them. I mean, there was like 7 or 8 recordings.
Mavericks Flats, I think it was, right?
That was the name of the company?
I think so.
that sold
Off of like Crenshaw or something over there, like in like.
Oh, where the club was?
Yeah,
I don't
was it?
know.
Oh.
I got them when I was living in Boston. And I found them like at a gas station. They were for sale.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was crazy because it was like it was small crowd. You could tell it was a small crowd, and Pryor was just fucking around, man. He was ad-libbing. You could tell that like it wasn't structured, and some of it was really funny, and some of it like kind of fell flat. And,
yeah.
and you could hear like the clink of glasses and shit in the
I love those
background,
sounds,
and
man.
it was just so real. Richard Pryor back then, he was doing something that it's like he had figured out a thing that he could do that other people hadn't figured out, and that thing was like just be totally honest and also just explore ideas on stage in front of people, like not even have it mapped out yet. Just fuck around and find what's funny. And he'd be smoking cigarettes and just talking, and he figured out a way to turn, and then you would see it boiled in to like Richard Pryor Live or Live on the Sunset Strip or any of his specials. You would see it boiled down into that.
Yeah. Doing it for he performed for television really well. And that's like kind of an element that I think people kind of forget, that like how well of a it connected with you watching it at home. Like, you know, even me 20, 30 years later after it's filmed and just watching it with my dad, he plays really well here. You know what I mean? Like, to you, it's like you can feel how personal, how honest it is. And like, so when it was like boiled down, it was just, he was also captured really well.
Did you ever see him live?
No. Prior?
Yeah.
Wait, how old do you think I am?
No, he was alive doing stand-up 10 years ago. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah, well,
When did he die? Maybe it was more than 15 years ago. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Did you ever see him live?
Yeah, I had to follow him for like 5 weeks in a row, man.
Really? Where
Damn.
like a run in
2005 he died? Okay, so it was more than I thought.
like a
13
run
years ago. He did a run before he died. It was probably right before then. Actually, I want to say it was like the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around then. He was real sick, and they would have to carry him to the stage. And it would take like 5 minutes for him to get to the stage. So they'd introduce him, and the comic would get out of the way. And then Chewy and Marilyn Martinez's husband would help him walk to the stage. They would hold on to him, take him to the stage. It would take forever. It was a slow process. And they'd get him, and they'd sit him down, and they'd crank up the mic like this. Because his voice was so soft.
feeble
then.
and
Yeah, and he would do stand-up. Do like 15, 20 minutes, and then I would go on after him almost every time. It would be me. And just eat shit. I would just eat shit. Because first of all, nobody knew who I was. And second of all, they just saw Richard Pryor, and they're sad because he's fading away right in front of everybody.
Yeah, it's an interesting feeling. Like, you never before has like a British type intermission been needed more.
A British type intermission.
You know, like where it's just like, all right, Richard Pryor is gone, and 15 minutes, people go smoke cigarettes, come back.
What year did you start doing stand-up?
2008.
Yeah, so you missed it.
Yeah.
Did you go to the clubs at all before then to look around?
No. Well, 2 nights before my first time.
2 nights before your first time?
2 nights before my first time, I went to the Comedy Store.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have
my first day in LA? My first day in LA, I saw the whole show 9 to 2 a.m.
Wow. You sat through the whole show.
The whole show, did the open mic that Sunday.
Whoa. That's an experience, man. The people that do that, man, that's like running an ultra marathon. Like sitting through
but
9 a.m. to 2.
It's interesting. I can watch
9 p.m.
I can watch it, you know, I can consume a high volume of it in a lot of cases. Like, you know, I've always been interested in like whatever people are talking about, you know, like, and it was just an interesting sampler of like, all right.
What's fascinating about the store is the 15-minute blocks that you're seeing, these completely different viewpoints, 15-minute chunks. You know, it's just like if you sit there for long enough, you sit there for like a couple of hours and you watch that many different people, you watch 8 different people go up, it's like, it's very weird.
Yeah, the strength of it, I think, for like what stand-up is, especially like right now, what it helps is it allows you to think of yourself in context. And that's more important now than ever, especially with stand-up. If you're on and you're competing against the 3,000 other specials that came out this week.
Right.
It's in context of, you know, kind of mass consumption. So if you're going up, in the middle of a marathon show, you're going up in the OR in the middle of a show, and they saw 8 comics before you, they'll see 9 after you or whatever.
Right.
You have to like kind of sketch a place in their minds in context of everything else that they saw that night. So it's really important.
So are you going like, okay, so what haven't they seen? Well, no, you can't do that because then you can only be yourself.
No, not that. It forces you. It's not saying like, you know, it's not saying change who you are. I think it makes a more dynamic version of who you are. Like, because you have to be memorable in context of all of these people and these different styles. Also, you know, I think what you do, because whatever you make and you release into the world, you are also releasing in the context of other art that people are consuming, right? So like even if you release your stand-up album, you know, a lot of times people who buy stand-up albums, you know, and like so they listen to you in context of the other stand-up albums that you have. Like it's a strong comparison culture stand-up has, right? Like hip-hop, where it's always in relation. It's not, this is my favorite rapper, is this rapper is better than that rapper.
Right.
Like, you know, and comedians and consumers of it, you know, it's a lot of association. So it's like, you know, it should force you to be you, specifically you. That's needed more than ever before.
Right.
You know, like you need to be yourself completely. Or if you're a character, that character needs to be hammered the fuck down.
Yeah, and who you are changes depending upon your environment. That's one of the things about the store. Like, since I've come back to the store, it's tightened me up. It's made me better coming back to the store. Because it's like being in that environment, being in that pressure cooker around all these other creative people and everybody's constantly getting after it.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a really good kind of artist colony. At its best, it can operate like that, where you can just kind of run around. On its best, like, I remember nights where we would run in between rooms, even before getting spots, just to go see each room, different comedians. You just kind of absorb it and watch it and get excited about it.
Yeah, you could do 3 different sets in that place and have 3 different universes. Like, you're in the belly room, then you're in the main room, then you're in the OR. That's 3 different worlds.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah, 3 completely different energies.
It changes people, too. Like, that's one of the reasons why Kinnison became who he was, because he was doing those late-night spots. He was doing those same spots that, like, Holtzman gets, those late spots, and he just had to capture people's attention. So he'd just go out there screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is...
I mean, he, you know, speaking of existing in context of he is that is a style that's just completely created from frustration and other comedians create Sam Kinison.
Other comedians and ex-wives, you know?
And ex-wives.
I mean, he had like... I mean, everybody had ex-wife jokes, you know. There was a lot of that, take my wife, please, you know, that kind of shit. There was a lot of wife jokes and ex-wife jokes, but Kinnison, what he did was just screaming. You know, it was just raw. And you looked at him, this little fat, balding guy, and you're like, oh, yeah, he probably had a real rough time of it.
Yeah. Well, you just believe his hatred. You believe it completely.
Remember that video he was watching of Sam Kinison? It was like really late night. And maybe it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. He was like, every comic just gets worse.
Oh, yeah. Every joke just gets worse. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, he also came from he was a preacher. So he had this ability to just rant and rave and project. And he knew the rhythm and he knew the fucking, he had this thing that he would do that was very much like a revival tent. Like one of those tent preachers.
I remember watching him on Married with Children with my dad. That's where I first saw him.
He was brilliant on there.
Wasn't he on a show where he played like someone's conscience?
Herman's Head.
Oh, yeah.
Him on the shoulder.
Damn, Jamie. How'd you pull that reference out?
I used to watch that show.
Damn. Herman's Head.
Yeah. It's funny how you discover people. Like, you see him on Married with Children, and you're like, he shot a wall? What?
Yeah, he shot. They fucking fixed the sign at the Comedy Store. I was so depressed when I came back. I'm like, you guys fixed the Kinnison hole? Why would you fix the bullet hole?
He shot
a hole through the fucking sign in the parking lot. You know that sign that's near the back walkway, the one that, you know, in the corner? There's a bullet hole in the back of that thing. They fixed it.
Oh, it's not there anymore?
They fixed it.
Oh, why did he do it?
Because he's crazy.
Oh.
He had a gun. I think it was him and Dice were in some sort of a fight. He pulled out a gun and blam! He shot the sign.
He tried to shoot Dice.
I'm like, no. I think he just wanted Dice to know that he would shoot him.
Oh.
He's probably coked out of his mind.
This is an ex-preacher, by the way.
Yeah. That sounds like the story.
It wasn't Herman's Head?
No, it was not. That was on at the same time. The show was called Charlie Hoover.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember him standing on a show. I remember the image of that.
Yeah, he was like the devil conscience type character, right? Is that what it was?
I think is that Tim Matheson is the guy.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And Tim Matheson's the guy from Animal House, right?
Yeah. I think why I confused it, Herman's Head had 4 people in his head, and there's 4 different actors. And this is similar, whatever.
Man, they don't even do shit like this no more.
Yeah. for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a reason we're scrambling for the name.
Look at they have him with Alex Jones. Look at those. Back to those images he just had. Go back to the images.
Or what? And that?
Scroll down.
Oh.
Look, Alex Jones is in the middle of that. That's not even Kinnison.
Wow.
That's Alex.
Wow, that's just someone's comparison. Kennison that was a great headshot, him screaming.
Yeah. No, he was. He's the guy that got me into comedy, really, in a lot of ways. Cocaine, Sam Kinison, Family Entertainment Hour. Yeah, he got me into comedy because I thought comedians were. I thought it was like people who go on the Tonight Show and they had their sleeves rolled up. And you go, you ever notice? Here's a crazy thing, folks.
Yeah.
Like that. I enjoyed watching that, but it never seemed like me. I couldn't see myself doing it.
Oh, people gotta stop doing that. They gotta stop doing it. Like why are you doing your Tonight Show set and your Colbert's not even. They block. It's so fucking disrespectful. They block shoot these things.
What do you
these
mean?
like they'll do like 10 comedians at a time, and he's not even there, and they like throw to it as if. You know, like it's the rudest thing I've ever heard. And the fact that comedians still go on the show and would still do it is insane to me.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's insane to me.
So how many they do in a row?
I heard like 10. I could get the number wrong, but he's not there. It's not, you're just doing like this show in front of this audience in the studio.
And he pretends to throw to you,
yeah,
and
he throws to you like you're there, and it's like this thing that's like, there's nothing.
He doesn't care?
No, well, it's again, man, like, but it's on us as much as it's like, of course they're gonna do that. They're gonna do that to any genre of entertainment that would allow such a thing to happen. They will do it to you,
right?
They're not gonna do. If Rihanna's doing these things are so contrived. Like it's the same set. You come out in front of the same curtain. People put on the same outfit that they didn't wear yesterday and would never wear again tomorrow. And they come out and they pretend to be a comedian from 1993. And it's like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? What are you fucking doing?
Damn.
For a set to get passed around to a couple of agents that want to come see you, who cares?
I was talking to Theo Vaughn about this. We were talking about like whether it's worth it being on one of those shows.
No,
And
it's
I was
never.
like,
It's
nobody
never worth
notices.
it. It's never worth it capturing yourself not as yourself.
Right.
It's a waste of your time.
It used to be worth something. This is why it's confusing because there was no venues before. So when Johnny Carson would have you on the Tonight Show,
Yeah. No, and that was listen.
Yeah.
It served its purpose. It was very important at the time. It was an outlet where there weren't a lot of outlets, and now
those times
what the fuck
gone.
are we doing?
Yeah,
Especially unless it's like with that said, Kimmel built like a club and has like the audience travel from the studio to the club, and the comedians would do it there, and it's like, oh, that's like an effort. You know what I mean? Like an effort to create like
a
space.
club?
Yeah, it was like a separate studio that I believe they're still doing. I don't know if I've seen like a Kimmel set, stand-up set recently, but there was like an effort. I always really appreciated that about like Kimmel, at least trying. Like I don't know, just try. There are too many options for comedians to go through this same filter of capturing themselves in a way that's not authentic to them.
So you're saying that if I go on Colbert, I should do it with my shirt off?
If you want to have your shirt off, if it has a purpose, you know what I mean? Like you should do it how
like you would do a regular set in the belly room.
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, all right, cool.
Well, I mean, because it's like, if stand-up is art, right? If it's art, if it is an art form, then it's supposed to be like the medium is supposed to come to the artist,
unique to you,
not the other way around.
Right.
Because even on those same shows, if you see a live music performance, like the staging's different, it's specific to the audience. In the context of a show and a live production, and you have this space, they fill it in the way that makes sense to the artist.
Yeah.
And then it's like stand up. And it's just like you could just go through a slideshow of just the exact same thing. You know, like it's.
Well, I guess when a musical artist gets on Colbert, one of those shows, they're already kind of famous, right? They already have an album out. And when a stand-up gets on those shows, they're trying to get seen. Like maybe you don't have a special yet. Maybe you showcased and they picked a few people.
You've done any of it yet?
I don't do any of those.
A specific reason?
Yeah.
I remember
I never liked it.
I remember one time, like, I was gonna do Letterman while Letterman was on Letterman, and I remember like sending a set in or whatever, and they responded like, okay, you know, we could do it, but could he do his jokes in a more traditional setup punchline format? And I remember just like emailing back like, I'll just do it when I'm famous. When I'm just not going to listen to this bullshit note. People, they change. That's the other thing. They change your set. Again, compare yourself to a musician. Yeah. Imagine you're a musician going on, and they're like, we like this song, but could the bridge come first?
Right.
And then you would be like, go fuck yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and comedians allow like.
You can't say Pop-Tart. If you say Pop-Tart, we're going to get sued.
Exactly. Comedians allow a lot of shit.
Yeah. Say pastry. Can you say pastry? Like, but that doesn't make any sense.
Well, we just trying to hit the road, Jerrod.
Toaster strudel is a sponsor.
We're just trying to hit the road, Jerrod.
No, man, do you, man?
No, I get it.
Enjoy yourself.
I wouldn't do it even back in the day. It didn't make any sense to me. They would go, you should put together a 5-minute set for the Tonight Show. And I'd be like, I don't want to do it. And they were like, you should do it. Like, it's good exposure. This is like the fucking 90s, right? When it actually probably meant something. I was like, I don't see it happening. I'm not doing it. It's not stand up. You're taking a little piece of it. Stand up, like a short set is 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes I might cover 2 concepts, you know? Because I need time.
Yeah.
I go over things. Like I get thorough. If I'm talking about a subject, I get involved in that subject. I want to bring people on a journey. And I also want to be able to set them up. I want to be able to explain how I think about things so that by the time I get to something controversial, they already have a sense of how I approach things. Mm-hmm. You can't do that in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you just got to just get into it.
Yeah.
And it's a very condensed, homogenized version of who you really are.
Man, just do a late night spot with a 5-minute setup, then leave.
Just a setup.
Yeah, just a setup, then shake.
Yeah. I remember I saw Louis do one. Louis C.K. did one of those Letterman or Tonight Show or something like that. And I was like, God, like he shouldn't even do this because it's such not a good representation of what he's capable of.
Well, some people are like, Jerry Seinfeld should do that. He should absolutely do that.
Yeah, he could do it.
Like when he does, and he does. I love Jerry's like Tonight Show sets.
Yeah.
And his his makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes sense. It's like perfect for it, and it's like it translates very, very well.
Well, when I watch those shows today, I'm like, why are they still a thing? When I see a late night show, and no disrespect to anybody who hosts a late night show, but to me, it's like they took a boat and tried to turn it into a plane. They're like, hey, it's 2018, but let's pretend it's not.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be right back with a commercial. Hey, we're going to have commercials. We're going to shove commercials into things. But today, everybody watches HBO and Netflix. Like, what am I doing here? Sitting through a fucking commercial.
It may be weird. Because I enjoy advertising.
You do?
Yeah. I like a lot. I'll stare at at billboards. I watch commercials. I watch because I do think it speaks to what America thinks we are as a culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it speaks to what they think is is appealing and what they think is going to work. And so in a sense, it's like in a way, in the same sense, like you can gauge a lot from a person by the types of questions they ask you. You know, like you can gauge a lot from even a climate by the type of commercials, what they feel is. Because they're trying to appeal to everybody. So this is what they're saying. This is what we think everybody is thinking right now.
Yeah.
You know, or how everyone feels or what they want. And but I love I'll watch it. And even the Tonight Show and those these things. I mean, look, you know, anything in function at its best is fun. It's just, you know, where it hits a wall, and it's what we're saying about comedy and what we're saying about a lot of things, is like when a thing tries to be something that it's not.
Right.
You know, when it feels like they're just these late night shows when they're just doing fun things that they think are fun and interesting. I love, you know, Kimmel always every year does like the parents that tell the kids that know Halloween that they ate all the Halloween candy, and the kids' reactions and stuff. Like, I eat that stuff up. I love that. You know what I mean? Like,
no, those sketches are fun.
But like when it, you know, when shows pretend to be, you know, 1989, it's just like when comedians pretend to be of a different era or pretend to, it just feels false. And I think that's where you check out.
Yeah. It's just unnecessary at this point, you know? Because of the internet, you just have too many other venues.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of options.
Yeah.
A lot of options, yeah.
And like watching things on the internet is so much more satisfying. It's like watching a comic on a podcast. You're going to get a chance to see who the fuck they really are.
Yeah.
Instead of some weird set in front of some audience that got shipped in from Burbank and they got applause signs and everything. It's very surreal.
Yeah.
When you go to a live taping and you watch that, it's really surreal.
Oh, it's very like, and I'll sit. I have like, you know, it's always weird. I have like weird late night thing because I like I'm bad at being like the, you know, celebrity type of thing. Like I'm just in it and just like looking at it. And when the crowd is giving an unnatural reaction to things, it's just like, what do you?
Right, you're too introspective. You're not going to just dive into the fakeness.
I'm like, hey, no, but hey, bro, what are we doing? For real.
What is this?
What is this? Like, what do you? Is this rewarding for you?
Applause sign, everybody. Applause.
Yeah, like, is
applause.
this what are we doing?
Let's clap our way through the uncomfortable moment. This is weird. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. Thank you. We'll be right back. That "we'll be right back" shit. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
You promise?
Stay put. Can't you just shove those commercials in later? Let's just keep rolling. What the fuck are we doing? We'll be right back. It's strange, man. The advertising model of shoving an ad in every 15 minutes, to shoving a series of ads in.
Yeah.
How the fuck did they ever do that? Like, how?
Well, I mean, look, you know,
It's weird.
The unfortunate reality, or fortunate reality, I guess depends on, you know, what company you work for, is, I mean, it's an advertiser's medium, right?
Yeah.
And everything, they'll find a way to put the commercials, even with the internet, you know, like YouTube becomes traditional television. Like they all just...
The internet commercials are longer than the TV commercials. They be 2 minutes. You can skip them.
Do you get 2-minute ones now?
Don't they got like minute, 2 minute?
I
Like,
see minute ones.
You know,
I get excited when I see a 15-second one.
it's like, oh man, so we're gonna
I'll just sit here.
gonna sit through Ron Howard's masterclass again, huh?
But do even sometimes you be like, damn, this is too long. Even if it's 15 seconds, you're like,
Yeah,
Well,
you'll mute it.
Yeah, sometimes I'm looking up commercials and I hate having to watch a commercial to watch a commercial, or like some type of you know what I mean, like some type of ad, or like a trailer to something. I'm like, oh, now I have to sit through this trailer to watch the trailer. That
It is true that a commercial does kind of show you what they think the culture is about right now.
Yeah,
What they think people are interested in right now.
yeah,
Like what a real manipulative mainstream version of what the
That's what
average
we think appeals to
American
you.
is.
they think we depressed too.
Well, a lot of people are. You're not depressed.
No, I'm good.
Handsome bastard. Beautiful body going on stage shirtless. You're not depressed. But some people are. You know, a lot of people are. Like, what percentage do you think? I mean, it's probably more than 20% of Americans are depressed.
Yeah.
Let's just take a guess.
or maybe some
Let's see
version.
what a recent poll shows. It's not going to give us a real good idea, but I'll say 20%. 20% of Americans suffer from depression. What do you think?
A form of depression. Are we saying specifically depression? Or are we saying like mental?
Not illness.
Yeah, because
depression.
it's
How do you
just-
define?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm just saying it's the reason it's hard to quantify is because it's like it also is a thing that comes in phases or post event,
Yeah.
like specific, like depression. You know what I mean? That's why I'm just wondering how we're.
And I can't believe it's not as easy as, man, get over that shit. Like, I can't believe it's not.
But it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how I get over shit.
Well,
like, fuck it.
no, but you know,
Some people have real issues.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's hard to like.
It's like, wow, you got a cancer? Get over it.
Like, man,
Come on,
we
man,
gonna
I'm
all
walking
die.
off.
Oh, you mean
You got a tumor.
You mean like specifically like event-based thing, like if something has happened
Well,
that sparks like sadness.
I don't think so.
I forget that there's more than one reason to be depressed though too. Like, you know, I'm like,
Oh,
well,
6.7%. 16.2 million adults in the United States, equaling 6.7% of all adults in the country, have experienced a major depressive episode in the last year. 10.3 million U.S. adults experienced an episode that resulted in severe impairment in the last year. Wow. 50% of all people diagnosed with depression are also diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. It's estimated that 15% of the adult population will experience depression at some point in their lifetime.
Well, yeah, like post.
But what does that mean, though? Like, if your dog dies, what does that mean? You lose a job, girlfriend breaks up with you?
Kind of, yeah. Like post event. I mean,
like-
I went through. I remember going through like a real kind of dark period after losing a friend. Like it happened twice of just like, and I'm very much so. I get the Jamar mentality of just like, oh no, nigga, just get over that shit. But like,
But is that sadness or is
but-
that depression?
right?
Right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know clinically like where the line is.
as humans, like, isn't it just highs and lows? Highs and lows. Deal with this. Don't deal with, deal with that. Deal with the happiness. Deal with the, like, it's not,
but
it's not like that.
It's highs and lows, but it's just your expectation of what the next phase is. Like your expectation, like it's all.
There's also legitimate issues that people have, like with mental problems. Their brain doesn't produce enough hormones.
Yeah.
There's people
Legit.
that have legit serotonin and dopamine issues.
Oh,
Jamar just,
I'm so ignorant.
Jamar just
I'm
on
like,
a suicide hotline. Like, look, nigga,
Get
I
over
said
it,
get
bitch.
over that shit.
nigga, get some ice cream.
Go outside. Click. Don't you have friends?
The sun is out though.
Oh, you don't have friends. Oh, your friend fucked your wife.
Oh, they committed suicide too.
Oh, and your friend was also your boss. Oh, so now you're fired and you don't got a wife. Okay. And your dog's gone. Where's your dog? Oh, your friend took your
This
dog.
would be my favorite episode of Frasier.
Yeah, some people have it rough, man. Some people's, some people have leukemia. Some people have genetic disorders. Some people's brains don't work right, and for whatever reason, whether it's nature or nurture, there's something going on that's real bad, and they're just they're in a hole. Ari described it really well. He did a podcast recently with me, and he talked about he went through a serious depression episode where he was suicidal. And his brain was just, the way he described it is like it was broken, and I had to get it fixed. And he started off on medication, then weaned himself off on medication. But when he was on the medication, it's also when his career took off. And when his career took off, I mean, it alleviated a lot of what a lot of his issues were, was also just like an unfulfilled life, frustration, expectation, unrealized. And then on top of that, compounded, there was like legit mental issues that were bothering him.
I guess I was just unclear on like what depression actually is. Like, I'm like, because now that you say that stuff, I'm like, maybe I have felt that.
Well, definitely, everybody feels highs and lows. You're right about that. You're for sure right about that. But you also exercise a lot, and I think that probably helps.
Yeah, just souping myself up in my head and shit.
Well, no, exercising just releases a lot of the bullshit that people carry around. A lot of the what makes people feel terrible is that their body is fighting against their brain. Their body holds in so much tension, and they're so fucked up, and they never get an endorphin release, and their body's like an overflowing battery, like oozing out of the sides.
I always like, people don't meditate. Like, that don't work for people. Like, that shit works. That shit kills it for me.
How often do you meditate?
Shit, like every day. Like,
how much time?
20 minutes.
Oh, that's good, man. Look, that is a beautiful thing. If you could force that into your schedule and make sure that that's a part of your life.
I got it from Seinfeld and Oprah now. Like,
TM? Do you do TM?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Like,
yeah, no, it's, I mean,
doesn't it activate something that all humans have, which is like So we're supposed to kind of do that though. Anyway,
well, it
right?
allows you reflection, and also what I think it does. One of the real good things that meditation does is it stops momentum, because there's like a momentum of shitty thoughts and bad ideas and bad decisions and just anxiety and all these issues that could fucking just accumulate inside your consciousness.
Yeah.
And they never, when unaddressed, they continue to like push at you from the back, and it's like you're just constantly in this state of momentum of all the bullshit that's going on. But if you have a time for real reflection and just pause, even if you're just concentrating only on your breath, it seems to stop that momentum and give you a chance at like a renewed perspective.
Yeah. That.
That's great.
Remember that time I had a spiritual awakening in your house?
Yeah. Yeah,
Spiritual awakening in his
remember
house.
that a
What
lot.
happened? What was it about?
It just hit him one day. Like,
I was watching like a Seinfeld interview or something. He was like, "Yeah, I do it twice a day," and something. I was like, "Man, let me see." So I went down. I used to live with him, so I went downstairs in my room and I meditated, and I came back upstairs and I was like, he was sitting on the couch and I was like, Jerrod, nigga, I just had an awakening. He was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I don't know, man, but the first message I got was you can't save the world, but you can help." He was like, "Okay." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go back down to my room."
yeah.
So when you do it, what's your process? Like, how exactly do you practice TM?
I sit there, cross my legs, in through the nose, out the mouth, in through the nose, out the mouth, till you get into the state.
Jamar also, though, has the ability to completely clear his mind. Like, he's one of those people that it takes me anywhere from 20 minutes to like an hour to fall asleep. You know, like, even if tired, it's still like, all right, there's Jamar could immediately just like, all right, being awake is over, all right, and then just fall asleep like instantaneously. He can clear his head really quickly and like focus on one thing.
You got a high level of I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's a very high level.
I think I'm numb, Jerrod.
Yeah, no, you are. You are.
So
Congrats, bro.
So you go in through the nose, out through the mouth, and what are you thinking when you're doing that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Just are you thinking about the breathing?
I think about nothing, and then if I have a task or something, like if I be like, you could do affirmations, you know, like if you be like, "Hey man, I want to be great on stage tonight," or I want to get this writing done, or I want to, you know what I'm saying, or you can hype yourself up and shit like that. Like your intention, it's just set. Whatever intention that you want to do, you know what I'm saying? You set that, hey, I want to, you know, whatever the fuck. And then it'll be easier to complete that task. For me, I have ADD. I'm bad at focusing on things, but that really helps me focus.
You have ADD, but you don't have a problem meditating.
Yeah, because it's the lazy. I'm really good at being lazy, and it's kind of lazy to
meditate?
meditating is kind of like all you gotta do is sit there.
It's a chill thing. You like chill
You're not
activities.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah, and just sit there and fucking zone out and shit.
Yeah.
Like if you like mushrooms and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? This shit is perfect for you. It's getting high off your own DMT. That's what it is. It's just your own DMT, the spirit molecule, all that shit.
I don't know if it's that. Because you're not tripping, right?
It is. It's kind of. You ever do it right?
No. I've gone through phases where I've like tried meditation. I shower for an hour, 15 minutes, so that's kind of where that is.
You
I'm
kind of
just
zen already though.
Just kind of walk around and think. Yeah. I kind of, you know, I don't know. I've tried it, but it's not really my thing.
But you work out though, and it's, you know, those endorphins that you can just do that. You can also do that by just sitting there and just breathe and you know, focusing on the breath, and then all of a sudden your mind starts going into an altered state, and then you'll start.
Yeah, I meditate. I just don't meditate every day, but I definitely feel it. I think exercise does that, especially cardio and especially yoga. Something about yoga classes that just forces you into this state of mind where you're only concentrating on the movements that you're supposed to do. And so if you could clear your head and stay focused on the movements and not delve into, you know, your bank account or your fucking credit card debt or what's wrong with your car or what other bullshit you have bouncing around your head. If you could just take the time to concentrate only on the yoga, it has this like cleansing effect.
Yeah, it really make you be like, hey, man, fuck that shit.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Most things are not worth freaking out about. The vast majority.
A good question I remember reading is just ask yourself, what problems do I have right now? But genuinely, like, problems. And the answer may not always be zero, but it's usually surprisingly small. When you think about, like, the immediate, not the, just the base level of Maslow's hierarchy.
Right.
Like if that's taken care of, usually it's like, oh, I don't there are things that are ongoing things to figure out, but like things that you could define as like a problem, and then just kind of staying in that space of like,
like a
control.
Real issue. Like, what's a real issue?
Well, where there's like immediacy, like, and when there are real problems, a lot of times you handle it well, like instinctually, the things like, a lot of times people get calm in like those intense situations. Like, like they can handle like real problems. It's the anticipation of problems and the anticipation of solutions that's what drives you crazy.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, a lot of times real problems, they also sort of enlighten you to the fact that most of the time your problems are bullshit. You break your leg, you go, oh, this is real.
That's an immediate.
Yeah.
And so just staying in the space of like, all right, you're in a control center. You got, You know
what else? What helps me is because yoga's hard to do, doing things that are difficult to do make things easier. Make other things easier. Working out, hard workouts make other things easier.
Yep.
Like running hills, kickboxing, anything that's
it gives
brutal.
context. It gives context to everything.
Yeah, it shows
growing
you
up
what
in the
real struggle
hood
is.
makes Hollywood interactions easy.
Yes, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it gives context to everything else you're doing.
Yeah. What is the struggle?
Yeah. It's like, so by the time you get on stage, you're like, well, my body thought it was gonna die this morning.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Yeah. So this is fine.
Yeah. And now this tag doesn't work.
Do you guys know very many people who do jiu-jitsu?
No. And by very many, I mean you.
Yeah, they're the most chill people ever because they're getting choked all the time. They're fighting for their life every day, so they're so mellow.
Yeah,
they're used to trained killers trying to break their arms.
If the experience is not that, then we're cool.
Then it's like, whatever, man. I'm not worried about it that much. Yeah, the world's pretty soft right now. It's easy to get upset about nonsense if nonsense is the only thing that you have that's a difficulty in your life.
Well, it's that, and it's
perspective.
The reward for complaints. It's like a culture that's where we are rewarded for publicly, for having a public complaint.
What you mean?
Well, rewarded in the sense of like, you can get attention for, you can get attention for like, but I'm just saying by publicly airing, a grievance about a project, and I'm speaking specifically about how we respond to content, is just like by publicly saying this, you can speak to your respective group and you have an immediate reward for it. So it's like, it's like, I don't even know if we're more sensitive, we're just more outspoken about, things.
Well,
because
people are definitely more outraged. They're looking to get outraged. That's a really common thing now that just didn't exist a few decades ago.
But I don't even think it's outrage. You know what I mean? Like I really don't think it's outrage as much as it, because outrage, we've seen what outrage looks like at the peak of like the Black Lives Matter movement were people at a core as black people outraged.
Yeah, but that's
in the
real.
streets. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but that's what outrage is, and I don't want to confuse that with like
recreational outrage.
Right? And it's really important to draw that distinction, right? And so it's like it's again, people are vocal about things. Some issues real. A lot of things we start getting upset about. They're like we get upset about certain cultural appropriation things of the week because it's a sushi restaurant on a college campus.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we get caught up in those things, but and not focus on, I don't know. It's like real outrage is the thing that corporations are afraid of isn't outrage. It's trending. You don't want to trend negatively for like whatever period of time. When people are upset with you and that you've done something genuinely wrong, they'll show it beyond. It will extend beyond that. If it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of what outrage is like a comedian trying out jokes. You try out jokes and 30% of them are just straight bullshit. They just don't fucking work, man. You try them, they stumble out, you gave it a shot, or you'll ad-lib something in the moment on stage, and even after you say it, like, what the fuck did I just say?
Yeah.
I think there's some of that people are trying to, like I was reading this article the other day about some woman who's saying that yoga is supporting white supremacy. Because yoga, it was the dumbest shit ever. Some Indian lady. Mm-hmm. She was saying the cultural appropriation of yoga by white people is supporting white supremacy, and it was, it's really funny.
What are we doing?
Exactly. What the fuck are we doing? But that's what she did. Is she tried a bad joke? She's she's a professor on some bullshit college where they're just drowning in liberal arts, and she just figured out a way to say something outrageous that she thought made sense in her own weird bubble, but this got published in a newspaper, and then the whole world went just collectively, what the fuck are you talking about?
Damn.
Yeah.
But that's what it's like. It's like you or I trying a bit late night at the store, you just riff something, and it just goes into a corner and just gets stuck. Like one of them Roomba vacuum cleaner things just bouncing off the wall. Like, this is not working.
Yeah.
I got to bail out of this.
Yeah. No, it's funny because it is like, people's...
It's creative outrage. It's a creative... She's like, she tried to make outrage where it didn't exist. And sometimes it catches, right? Like hoop earrings. White girls can't wear hoop earrings anymore. White girls are scared to wear hoop earrings because they're getting called out for cultural appropriation which is hilarious, by Latina chicks. This is particularly Latina chicks are saying, and it's just all social justice warrior bullshit. But what's really funny is, so I had to, because I'm an asshole, I had to Google it. Well, who the fuck invented earrings? The Sumerians. The oldest version of hoop earrings is from 2500 BC from Iraq. So Iraqis are the only ones who really can claim cultural appropriation on people wearing hoop earrings, not Mexicans. So Mexicans, settle down. Leave those white girls alone, because you stole it too.
I thought that was black girl shit. Man.
It's everybody's shit.
But I don't know.
Fucking earrings. It's like, who invented pants? You're culturally appropriating. You're wearing pants. Who invented pants? You're on a Korean phone bitching about people doing yoga. The fuck are you talking about?
Man, the internet goes deep.
It's crazy. People are losing their mind. They're looking for things to get outraged at, and so they're trying jokes. They're taking swings. They're trying. They're throwing pitches out there. They're spitballing.
Well, I mean, and eventually, if it's like, if you're gonna run out of ways to approach it. You know what I mean? Like, you're running out of places to stab the thing.
Well, they try some that don't stick, or some stick for like a couple of days. Like, you remember bossy? They were trying to say you can't say bossy.
No, why?
You can't call girls bossy. It's sexist. Call girls bossy. Don't call them bossy.
It's sexy.
There was a thing where they were trying to stop the use of the word or the phrase bossy. They were saying bossy sexist.
Yeah, see, but like yeah.
Can I ask a question? Where did when did cunt become a bad word?
It depends on whose
like
house.
what is?
If you're in England, man, they don't give a fuck.
Is that a
Australia?
I don't think I heard it used until like, I mean, I didn't grow up around it. I didn't hear people saying it, so I don't even think I heard it used until like, I mean, I was probably 18.
That sounds like a Hollywood bad word.
Like a Hollywood bad word, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a word that when you used it, you fucking really were angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know where it came from.
It's like the new bitch.
It's not new. I mean, it was around it's been around since I was in high school. But you called someone a cunt in high school, man, you were ready to fight her brother. Like, shit would get deep. You couldn't say cunt. You could say bitch. You're a fucking bitch. Fuck you. You're a loser. Like, you're a cunt. Oh, Like people they would wilt.
Wow.
They'd be like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
That's I didn't hear it a lot at all.
Yeah.
And I could never imagine myself casually calling somebody a cunt.
But if you lived in England, you could.
Yeah,
Or
it's
especially if
just
you lived in
context.
Australia, they call someone a good cunt. Hey, he's a good cunt.
Oh, so it's a nice word. There.
Yeah, he's like he's a good dude. He's a good cunt. Like people have my friend Israel Adesanya, a style bender. He wears a shirt that says "good cunt," and he just wanders around. He's from New Zealand. They don't.
People.
They think
people
it's
get
funny.
Upset. People get upset about it.
He's a savage. You better be careful. Get upset with him. But he's
He's
a UFC fighter.
Oh,
But-
okay, all right.
yeah, he's. I mean, he's from another country. It means a different thing in New Zealand. If you say cunt in New Zealand, it's like, I mean, what's the equivalent? What would be equivalent of cunt the way they say it? Good dude. He's a good fucker. He's a cool motherfucker. He's a good cunt.
Yeah, were you asking because
See, there he
it's
is.
like
There's style bender. He wears that everywhere.
Oh, man.
No one says shit.
yeah, well, yeah.
But they sell
Well,
those
push your
shirts.
luck.
Good cunt. I don't know.
Why were you
They
asking,
like
Jim?
fuck
Was it like,
censorship. Hashtag fuck censorship. Hashtag make cunt great again. It says,
I was just going off of it.
well, I was gonna say, is it that what just like people's reaction to it just kind of bothers
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I'm like, it's a terrible not a terrible bad word. Like that word sucks. Like you know, it ain't. It's,
Oh, you're
it's
just
no
not- it's-
motherfucker.
you don't like it?
Motherfucker's
You don't think
more
it's
fun to say, rhythmically.
It's just trash. It's like, but I was going off of what we were talking earlier. I'm like,
interesting?
shit, trash. I don't know.
If you went to Australia, though, they would say it so many times it would just slip in. It
Yeah,
just gets normal.
yeah. I guess it is just it's this one syllable like.
Cunt.
It means dude over there sometimes. Like, and this fucking cunt, he goes over there, and they'll start talking about it like, this fucking dude, they'll literally say it in the same way you would say this fucking guy. Yeah. It's just a different thing. I
Yeah.
mean, look, they're all just sounds that convey expression. And the real problem is when you demonize one. You say, you can't say the C word anymore. Don't say the C word.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's just like I just want us to have like adult arguments.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's hard to have adult arguments if you have forbidden words.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because that's like the shit that your sister got mad at you about growing up.
Right.
You called me, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
It is kind of like that's the thing. It's, I mean, you were saying intention earlier, but I mean, it's always like intention. Like, what do you mean by? I get in like these types of. My mom, Southern Christian woman, and any curse word that I say
Any curse word.
is very. She doesn't like it, and I curse her on all the time. It's I always do just because we get into the argument while simultaneously respecting her views and beliefs. It's also like these cuss words redid your fucking kitchen, lady. No, but I just wanted to like. No, I love her. I love watching her like react to it. Like
Right.
it's like
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just like this through the filter of you, like really,
See, I grew up non-suppressed. My parents were hippies, and they didn't give a shit what we said. I couldn't really say it at school, but there was no like language restrictions in my house. You'd be allowed to say anything.
That's great.
It was weird.
That's great.
Like, my friends would come over to the house. Did you just say fuck in front of your mom? I'm like, yeah, fuck it. And they'd be
I
like,
used to.
What?
You were. Did you grow up around people that like used to just talk shit back to their mom? It was so like it
Oh,
was.
I never did that.
No, it was fun to watch. I had a friend, my friend Alex. It's still one of my favorite moments in life. Is just like I came to his house after school, and his mom's name is Patricia, and she was just like, "Al, take out the garbage." He was like, "Go to hell, Pat." Was his response.
He calls mom Pat?
Yeah, he called his mom Pat, and it
Whoa.
my mind was blown. Just to like, he told his mom to go to hell.
called
It
him
was
Pat.
like amazing, and she just argued back. Like it was
Wow.
like, Yeah, I was so
Single mom or was the dad around?
He knows that, but it wasn't around. Like
Yeah,
it lived
single mom.
separately. Yeah. But it
That's a
was always
different-
so
that's a
free
different
and
deal.
amazing. It was amazing.
That's a struggle to who's the man.
When did you start cussing around your mom?
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's been a few hours. No, I probably started. I moved out when I was a teenager, so I probably. I mean, she's heard me say it kind of throughout, but just like not stopping it in conversation. It's been years. I mean, I just always just kind of flow.
I'm low key still afraid to cuss in front of my
Yeah,
mom.
no, I do.
cuss a lot.
I cuss in front of my mom. I cuss in front of my niece and nephew. Just
How old are they?
all of my I have an 11-year-old niece, a 9-year-old nephew, a couple 2-year-old twins, a 3-year-old niece. Like and I am myself and speak exactly how I normally speak around them. You're an adult longer than you're a kid.
Right.
You know, and so it's just like, why am I going to pretend the world sounds different?
Look, I'm with you, but
And for like,
whose kids are they? Your brothers or your sisters?
Yeah, my brother.
Your
Brother
brothers
and sister-in-law,
And
yeah.
everybody cool with that, or do they get upset?
they go like, oh, come on, sometimes. But it's also, they get it.
Right.
My brother, they're very understanding. While they get it. They get that it's just like,
It's how people talk
it's
in the
how-
real world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's important. Again, like, you don't want to, that's the thing, man. Just like, let's
Well,
be
that's how
adults
you
about this.
know you fucked up. If you're at a job where not only can you not swear, but you can't swear off job with the people you work with, or they'll tell, or they'll get, you can get in trouble. Yeah. If there's certain jobs where people have where they got off work and they went out with some coworkers and they told a dirty joke or started talking shit, like that'll get back to human resources and they'll be fired.
Bosses
That's
are
a
now
real thing.
following their employees online and shit, like Twitter.
Did you see that girl that got fired from NASA? Fucking hilarious. She got fired from NASA yesterday.
Oh, yeah, didn't she,
She's
like,
like,
say,
holy fuck, I got a job at NASA. And some guy tweeted her, he said language. And she said, suck my dick and balls, I work at NASA.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, and I am, one of the people that oversees something at NASA. And then that was it.
What?
She got
She's
canned.
about to be an
Talking about-
astronaut.
Well, she was about to be an intern working at NASA. And she
Oh.
was like, here it is. Everyone shut the fuck up. I got accepted for a NASA internship. And look, he writes language. She says, suck my dick and balls. I'm working at NASA. And he says that I'm on the National Space Council that oversees NASA.
That's hilarious. Oh, how dare,
That's
how
sad.
dare you,
Come on,
Homer
that's funny.
Hickman.
And first of all, that shit is funny. Suck my dick and balls.
Second of all,
and it's a
look at this.
girl.
Second of all, we didn't even go to the fucking moon.
You don't think
fuck
we went
yourself.
to the moon? I saw you talking about that.
Yeah, no, I don't. Look, I could be convinced. You know,
I was convinced that we
but-
didn't for a long time. Now I'm convinced I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't think we went to the moon. Just
makes you think
off
that?
of base? It's not rooted in science.
How much have you really paid attention to it? Because I went down the rabbit hole
I
for
go-
many years.
I go off kind of like, it's always like the social kind of where there's smoke, there's fire type clues of just like, us being in a race and no countries coming second.
Right.
Us, other space programs not catching up to 1969.
1969 and 1972.
American technology.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like every time we went was under the Nixon administration.
That's a good one.
These types of little things that just make you go, no, probably like it.
Did you ever
not
watch,
like a flat earther, but it's just
did you
like
ever watch
I
the
just don't
press
think about it.
conference? You ever watch the press conference when they returned from the moon?
No, wait. What's
Oh,
the
you haven't
what's
even
the
seen the
clue?
good stuff.
What's the clue in there? Or what's the suspicious thing?
They look super depressed. They look super deceptive. They look fidgety.
Yeah.
And they're talking weird and they're saying shit that they refute later. One of the things they said, Michael Collins, who's actually he's supposed to be he never landed on the surface of the moon. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong did. He stayed up in the orbiter. And they were asking about stars, and he said, I don't recall seeing any stars. And then years later, he wrote in his book about how magnificent the stars looked. There's a lot of that shit.
Oh, wow.
But the press
I didn't even
conference
see
itself,
that.
if you want, and this doesn't mean anything. I'm not a cop, but if I was a cop and I was interviewing them, I'd be like, these motherfuckers are guilty. something is wrong here. Like they seem like guilty people.
Yeah.
And you could could say, hey, man, they were probably psychologically distressed. They were probably dealing with the pressure of having come back from the moon and all this fame that they had never experienced their whole life. They're astronauts. They're scientists. And now all of a sudden they're standing in front of all these people and everyone's asking them questions and they feel super nervous. But
it's like, nah, these niggas was lying. Let me tell you, everybody, my favorite thing is because I'll say it very casually, and people become like, patriots and rocket scientists that want to tell you like how we went. I'm like, you don't know either.
Well, all this we shit is bullshit because it wasn't you and it wasn't me. So let's stop with that.
Also, we probably lied about it, and we lie better than any other country on earth, and I'm proud of that.
There's a lot of weird shit with the video footage. There's a lot of footage where it looks like they're on wires or they're like dangling from wires and they bounce back up from their feet in this weird way. It looks like they're being yanked up from the ground. There's a video where it looks like they're on trampolines. If you Google astronauts on trampolines. No, I'm not even kidding.
It just looks like they're...
I actually put it up. It's a video that I found. Google astronauts on trampolines. There's a video on YouTube. And you're watching them bounce around. You're like, wait a minute. You guys are on the fucking moon, and you're hiding behind the lunar module. Like, you can't see their feet. You can't see how they're doing this. But it looks like either they're bouncing on something or they're being yanked up in the air. Or it's 1/6 gravity, and it just has a weird effect on people. But look at this. Watch this. Like, how strange is this? See, look, he just lands. But even the way he's moving, it's like he's being dangled. It's very strange.
Yeah.
You see him bouncing around. But that also could just be...
all the stuff we did we were like playing golf and bouncing around. Like the moon landing set was built by the people who made Discovery Zone.
But it also could be just
like slides.
Look, he fell. Boom. Look, he just fell. He just jumped up and fell. That's so strange. But it also could be this is just what your body does at 1/6 Earth's gravity. There's a whole bunch.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'm excited to see.
This one's weird too.
Someone else going back to the moon, and then if it matches.
Yeah. This is from a movie. I forget what the name of the movie was, but you could watch some of they show some special effects they use in movies, but watch some of the weird shit. Go a little bit further ahead of this. Yeah, right there. There's some of the weird stuff where you see these guys like fall down and then it looks like they just get yanked back up by wires. It's very strange.
Huh. Yeah, I mean,
but the press conference is the strangest.
Yeah, it's the social aspect of it because it's like I won't begin to know like how the flag is supposed to look and the waving and the shadows and the thing that like a lot of people argue about. It's just the political, and so it's like I kind of think I know when the government's lying about something. You know what I mean? Like the history is there.
Watch this. Watch that guy stand back up. Watch this. Watch how he gets up. Like he's gotten yanked up. There's a bunch of those. There's a bunch of those that makes it look like they're on wires and they're being pulled back up to their feet. It's very strange. But again, have you ever been in 1/6 Earth gravity? Yeah. I haven't.
No.
I don't know what that. Maybe it just looks fake because when you're in 1/6 Earth gravity,
that's just how movement looks.
Do you think we never ever been in life like up until this day?
My conspiracy belief is specific to thinking that a man has walked around on the surface of the moon. Specific to that, crashing, lunar, whatever.
That's all 100% legit.
Yeah, of course. It's specifically man moving.
Right. Did he get out and go like this on the moon?
Yeah, it's specifically that.
And you don't think anybody's ever done this?
I don't think so, no.
In life? Like even
yeah,
to this day?
I don't think. I mean, we're the only country that would have.
The press conference, some weird clips from the press conference, because the press conference will trip you out.
And see, just like other, countries who have the means to do it, like their intention about going.
Yeah, play some of this. Play some of this and go big screen.
Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin.
Look how sad these guys look. It's so weird. Watch this.
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. we all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade.
They just went to the moon, and they all look like they just saw their
That's
dad
only
naked.
part of it.
They all
That's
look
only
like they
part- it
lying.
gets-
They like
yeah.
the fucking
You tell
lying.
him, Neil.
And this is, yeah, it looks so fake. But again, that could be just extreme nerves. It could
Yeah.
be people that don't know how to handle being in front of press. It could be introverts that are forced on the camera.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of issues.
If you went to the moon and then you came back and then you were sitting at a press conference, would you be at the like what would your actions be? Would you be like, yeah, or would you be like more like certain?
No,
like,
it would look like a Lakers press conference after they won. You know, just I'd be like lean back, I have my hat on,
with some champagne?
yeah, just pointing to reporters. Like,
What's up?
And why didn't they bring back like a rock or
No,
something?
they did.
Oh,
they did. They brought it back a lot. Yeah, they brought back many rocks, but some of them turned out to be petrified wood. They gave one of them to
Wait,
the
that's a
Prime
real
Minister.
thing? That's a
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, they gave a moon rock in 69 or 70 to there's the Prime Minister of Holland, whoever it was, whoever the person who runs Holland.
Mm-hmm.
And years later, they analyzed it, and it was petrified wood. It was not a moon rock.
in fairness, I do get the like. By the time we got to Holland, the gift basket's gonna change. It's like we're not giving away the real moon rocks to Holland,
Yeah.
bro. Like that, like
Right.
England gets
Yeah.
a real moon rock.
Yeah, France gets a
France gets a moon rock.
littler moon rock.
Yeah, but they get a little. They get a moon rock. They gave us
Holland.
a statue.
Just go find some
What you think
rocks.
about
Yeah,
this-
yeah, just like you got some.
Those
yeah,
fucking dudes some
yeah.
rocks.
What do you think about this Mars mission?
Look, that's all real. Look, rovers are real. It's all the technology is proven and legitimate, and I don't think
Yeah.
you could ever fake anything today,
Yeah.
like you could fake things in 1969. I think if anything, for sure, what they did is it's been proven that they faked some footage, for sure, some photographs. There's
You
a
know,
photo
NASA
of Michael
recorded
Collins.
over
Yeah.
the original. That
Yes.
like again, those little things like it's like
Yeah.
you recorded over the
the original.
in a world
recordings,
where
yeah.
even the importance of syndication was known.
I think they also lost the telemetry data, which is like
Dear
the
God.
binary hard ones and zeros that show the distance between the Earth and lunar module at every step of the trip.
They lost it?
Yeah, they lost that shit. But then again, you got to realize like people die and people are responsible for storage and no one's paying attention and there's funding and the funding gets pulled and there's plausible reasons for some of the fuck
I don't know.
ups.
I mean, there are episodes of Blossom being guarded in a vault somewhere in Burbank. Episodes of Blossom,
Right,
bro.
but you could get fucking money off of Blossom. You can't make any money off of these goddamn moon landing clips. Look, there's some people that absolutely are convinced that we didn't go, and I used to be one of them. And I would love if they proved that it was fake. It would make me more happy than anything else in the world.
You know what? It would make me very happy too. The thing that keeps me holding on to maybe we went is I toured NASA once and they were nice.
Oh, that's probably it then.
I was like,
we're
oh, they
good.
were nice.
But you got to realize those aren't the same people. You know, when people say like
I know,
NASA
but-
lies, okay, but those were NASA from 1969. These are different humans.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're talking about 48 fucking years ago. These are completely different human
Yeah.
beings. Yeah.
They stand on the backs of liars.
Yeah. Well, there was
And stop inviting us to NASA so we can let us ask questions if you're gonna fucking lie.
what?
That's what you say about the tour.
It's just
I'm like, stop inviting us to NASA and allowing us to ask questions if you're gonna lie.
Well, I
They
don't
were
think they're
really
gonna.
nice.
I don't
Really
think they
nice.
think they're lying. I don't think they're involved. Like, if there was a conspiracy, like say if they did fake the moon landing, no one today who's alive was a part of that,
Yeah.
except Buzz Aldrin. He's the only one still alive. But he did something.
Did he punch the dude in the face?
Yeah, he punched some guy.
What did
It
he
said he was, Bart Seabrill. Bart Seabrill made a movie. I had dinner with him.
Oh, with the
with
guy
Bart
he punched?
Seabrill. Yeah, I had dinner with him many years ago, and back when I was a full-blown moon non-believer. And, you know, I contacted him, got a hold of him, took him to dinner, and
I love that. I like that you use your celebrity for good.
I don't know if it's for good, but it was for my own curiosity.
Like you just like these real specific pockets of like people that you just want to talk to. It's like, yeah, let me.
Well, I wanted to sniff them out. You know,
punch.
you could see someone doing interviews. You could see someone in an edited format, and you kind of get a sense of who they are. You don't really get a sense of who they are until you actually talking to them.
Yeah,
like you and him sharing a plate of pasta.
What was his? What did he give you anything that's like gives context to like that moment, or like just like why he did it?
He was convinced. He was absolutely convinced that it was a hoax, and what he was convinced was that there was a space race between us and Russia, and that it was essentially a militarized space race. And what they were trying to do is prove military superiority. If you had the rockets that could get you to the moon, your technology was superior.
Yeah.
And the way he framed it is like the United States had control over what was aired. They put it on television, and no one foresaw the future. No one foresaw that one day you would be looking at these clips on YouTube and analyzing them and putting them in slow-mo. They didn't even think that was going to be a thing.
Oh,
they thought they were going to show it on television, and that would be
networks.
it. Yeah, and they were going to show it in black and white, and they were going to have it 3D projected so that you would project it on a screen, and then people who were filming it would have to film the screen. Like they didn't even get a live feed. When it was airing on television, it was airing people filming the screen that it was being projected on.
So, what?
Yeah. They broke it down so it looked more and more grainy and fake. Like if you were trying to do something that was not done to the technology of the day that would possibly obscure some fraud, they did it all those ways. There's so many things that they did that you would go, huh, it's. In terms of like conspiracies, it's a conspiracy theorist's wet dream. Because if it is a fake, it's the biggest fake of all time. And there's so many things that are squirrely about it. There's so many things. Doesn't mean it's fake.
Yeah.
But there's so many things.
So has anybody been to the moon?
No one's been to the moon since 1969 to 1972. Those are the only trips. They did 7 attempts, 6 of them successful. Apollo 13 was the one that wasn't successful. That was that big movie. They landed on the moon and then came back 7 times. 262,000 miles away. Now, here's where it gets crazy, or plus or minus, depending on where the moon's at the time.
Far.
What's crazy is 262,000 miles is pretty far. What's crazy is
wait.
Oh no! My bad. I'm thinking about. Oh, that's 3 zeros.
Because I was like, what map are you seeing?
Oh man!
What's interesting is that no other human space mission where a human's been a part of it since then has ever gone more than 400 miles from the Earth's surface.
Is that where the
space station
is?
All the space shuttle missions, everything.
Oh,
Everything is
I thought it was further
miles.
than 400. Wow.
Nope, 400 miles.
So the guy you had dinner with did what for Buzz Aldrin to sock him?
He told Buzz Aldrin he was a liar. Yeah. He said, "You're a liar and a crook," and Buzz went, "Whap! Bitch!" Yeah. Popped him right in the jaw.
Said,
did anything happen after? Does anyone contact him after that? I'd imagine.
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing these days.
Of it all,
I think he's like an Uber driver now.
I mean, immediately after the
Buzz
punch.
Aldrin?
No. The guy, Bart Seabrill.
But I mean, immediately after the punch, is there any type of like...
I think he tried to press charges, and the cops told him to go fuck off. I think it was one of those things.
Okay.
It wasn't the best punch either. I mean, if you go to the hospital from that punch. And Buzz was like in his 80s at the time.
Damn.
But he harassed a lot of those guys. He harassed a lot of the astronauts and tried to get them to swear on Bibles. He'd bring a Bible and say, swear in this Bible that you went on the moon. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of weird shit. There's another one that's a 25th anniversary of the Apollo moon missions. He gives a speech at the White House in front of this group of honor roll students, like some of the best students in the country. Mm-hmm. And Neil Armstrong gives this real weird fucking speech. It's like, we have here amongst us some... You want to hear it? Find Neil Armstrong's cryptic speech.
What makes it weird?
When you'll see it, you'll get it. It's just real. It doesn't mean we didn't go to the moon. It doesn't mean that.
By the
but
way,
it's fucking weird.
It's really funny because I presented it as like, yeah, I don't think we went, and I didn't even have half of what you're giving me.
Oh, I'll give you way more. There's a lot. Watch this. You're gonna watch this. Here.
Public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks.
This is from a
before the
funny thing
next
happened on the way to the
generation
moon.
of
Bart
taxpayers
Seabrill's movie.
As they toured the White
But this
House.
is a real thing that happened.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you, we say, we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
What
He is
the
I mean,
fuck
okay, well, two things.
does that mean?
A little unfair to it is when you add that fucking Wonka music to anything, everything sounds incredibly creepy. But,
Yes, true.
But it does sound like
One of truth's
he's trying to
protective
tell you
layers?
something. Yeah, it
I mean,
does.
you can't get more cryptic.
Yeah, what,
And you also can't get more exciting if you were a conspiracy theorist.
It almost kind of sounds like he's like, and to the child who actually figures out how to go
Yeah.
to the fucking moon.
There are great
Thank you.
breakthroughs for those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
What would you rather, the moon confession or the R. Kelly confession? If you had to pick one.
R. Kelly made a song.
I mean, yeah,
his song, I did it.
I need that moon confession, bro.
Yeah.
I need that moon confession.
The R. Kelly, yeah, I don't need that confession. I'm good.
Yeah, no,
I
we
get
know.
it.
We know. It's like, now that's up to the law now.
Yeah, I don't even think the law is going to have a piece of that. R. Kelly seems to be pretty Teflon, but the moon confession would be fascinating.
I'd be excited. Or like a moon, like, I don't know, just, I guess it's not on them to prove that they went. So I'm saying, like, just some type of, like.
Just why lie?
I mean,
Well, 1969. It's a different world. Nixon's president. I don't know if they did lie. I don't know. You know? I used to think I knew. I do not think I know. I mean, it's foolish. I don't know jack shit about astrophysics.
But I know if there was a lie, if there's any president we would guess would be down.
It'd be Trump. He'd tell us about it.
Well, no, I'm saying, I'm saying like
Gotta
to
get
go
in his
along.
ear.
I'm saying like Nixon, just like it is a perfect storm of like.
Oh yeah.
The time
That's Nixon. Yeah. Oh, he's the most deceptive president of all time, except the current one. Yeah.
It's like, it's very interesting. I've shut down a lot of barbecues.
With
just talking about, just bring it up. Like,
Well,
I
how
don't think
about
we went.
now you have more information? And by the way, this is a fraction of the shit that I did research for years.
Yeah.
I debated a scientist on Penn Jillette's radio show about it.
How'd it go?
Pretty good for me. Even though I don't even agree with some of the shit that I said back then.
Where does that argument end on just a agree to disagree?
Time. It was a time constraint.
Yeah.
I would do it far differently now. I think far differently now than I did then. I would not take this I know we didn't do it approach because I don't know we didn't do it.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I very casually go, probably not.
Yeah.
Like, it just, the things that don't add up to me don't add up in a way that just makes me go, yeah.
Do you know about the Van Allen radiation belts? You know about all that?
I not enough to, like.
There's a belt of radiation, like a donut-shaped belt
from
of
just
radiation.
years of.
No. It's just naturally surrounds the Earth.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about never mind. I'm thinking about the belt from years of, like, satellites and stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's that shit, too. But there wasn't much of that in 1969, not nearly as much.
What about it?
The Van Allen radiation belts is an intense band of radiation for miles that surrounds the Earth that you would have to go through to get to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, though, there's a hole that you could go through in the top where the radiation belt isn't there. But the idea is that there was no shielding to protect them from radiation. They just were in this aluminum tin can. You ever touch a lunar module like they have? There was a science exhibit I went to once that had a replica of the lunar module, and you could put your hands on it. And it's like, whoa, this thing is
really
made out of Coke cans. It's so
funny 'cause
nothing.
I want to show you.
It's so weird looking. There's also like photographs that are fucking wonky, lights that go at 2 different angles. And they say, well, that's possible due to, uneven terrain and, things reflecting off of things, all these different variables. Also true.
I really enjoyed just like playing around in the.
Where is this? Where is this?
At NASA. It's in Houston.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Is that a space shuttle?
Yeah, it's the it's the shuttle. You see, I have
music.
This is you've seen these.
You're another dude that walks around with a phone with no case on.
Yeah, this is me on the on the red phone.
You don't put a case on your phone, dude.
No. Steve Jobs died so that we could feel its sleekness.
You're a risk taker.
I like the feel of the phone. It's
a lot of people do. Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson was sitting in that very seat 24 hours ago, said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He has his with no case on either. I was like, ooh.
If he could only be here now.
And you don't drop it.
Oh, he would go crazy on us. Yeah. He's one of the reasons why I dropped it. Talking to him, I'm like, doesn't really
He
make
thinks
sense,
we went?
Yeah.
Well, he's dedicated his whole life to the idea of it.
Well, you know what also? He hasn't. He's dedicated his whole life to science.
No, but I'm just saying, the way that, that's part of it. It's part of, the kid growing up.
It is, but he's not an indulger in conspiracy theories. He's got too much other shit to think about that's real. He's thinking about actual real science. He doesn't have time for that nonsense. But he will illuminate you on why he thinks it's stupid. And it would be an incredibly difficult task to fake that. But it wouldn't be as difficult in 1969 as it would be in 2018. If you try to do that in 2018, basically impossible.
The Tuskegee experiment existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what year was that? Was that the 60s?
It went on for, 20 years? It was I don't know the exact, but it was 20 years of history where this is happening and so many things can just kind of happen under the surface.
Did they give people syphilis or did they?
What's Tuskegee?
Yeah.
What's that?
They were giving black men syphilis. It just I don't even know what the research was exactly, if it's monitoring its effects or if it's
I think that was exactly what it was.
Yeah, and it was just, for 20 years at the Tuskegee Hospital.
There are real conspiracies. Unquestionably, undeniably real conspiracies. Gulf of Tonkin, what got us into the Vietnam War. They pretended that a ship got attacked by North Korea or by North Vietnam. And was it North Vietnam? Whatever it was. By Vietnam in the South Pacific, and this motivated everybody to get into war with Vietnam. Never happened. It's fake. Made it up. Operation Northwoods, 1962, signed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, vetoed by President Kennedy. It was a signed order where they were going to plan out fake attacks on America. They were going to launch a drone jetliner and blow it up in the air, blame it on Cuba. They were going to arm Cuban friendlies and have them attack Guantanamo Bay. They're going to pay them, arm them to attack Guantanamo Bay, and then it would give us the motivation to go to war with Cuba. This was all signed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're going to sacrifice American lives. They were going to kill Americans. They were going to have people attack Americans, and they were going to blame it on the Cubans, and they were orchestrating it all to get people motivated for a war with Cuba. And President Kennedy came along and said, what in the fuck are you talking about? And he vetoed it, stopped it, and a year later he was dead. This is one of the things that he did.
Oh, man.
One of the things that he did that lead many people to believe that there was a conspiracy that, he was murdered. That's a good one, too. The Lee Harvey Oswald case is a fascinating one.
Lee Harvey's murder is the shadiest looking shit
of all time. Jack Ruby runs.
It was like a motion picture of like just with a director, like a B movie director.
Yeah, it really was.
Well, what happened with Lee Harvey Oswald?
Lee Harvey Oswald's captured by the cops. He says, "I'm a patsy. I didn't do anything," and they're walking him. They're holding on to him. By the way, he's behaving like a guy who got framed. He's not behaving like a guy who just shot the president. And they're walking with him. This is after he, said he was a patsy. They're walking with him through the courtyard, and Jack Ruby, who was a mob guy, walks right up to him and shoots him in front of everybody. Jack Ruby, who was a nightclub owner, who was deep in debt to the mob.
Look at the shot.
Yeah, watch this. He's walking. Look how they have him too.
Look
it's
at
almost
the
like
shot.
Bang! Just walks up to him. They grab him. Hey, you cut it out there, mister.
It looks like it's playing on Turner Classic Movies.
It does.
You could add music to this. I'm surprised no one's added
Give me some volume, Jamie. Play that from the beginning. Let me see him walking again. Give me some volume. Let me hear this.
But look at these
Watch this.
These.
They're walking him through. But look how the cops are like way on the outside too. I don't want to get shot. Look there. Look how they're holding him.
He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot. There's a man with a gun.
There's a man with a gun.
Oh,
Get
man.
him. Never shot another round. Shoots one round, kills him, and that's it. Very strange. Strange place to shoot him,
I mean,
too.
even
Where did he shoot him?
In the guts.
you know, like in the movies.
It's just weird.
Even the way he drew his gun was very like.
Yeah, I think there's probably many people involved in that murder. Very, very, very likely. You know, the Zapruder film didn't get played on TV till more than 10 years after the assassination.
That was that
And
long?
you know who played it?
Who?
Dick Gregory.
He was the.
Dick
That's
Gregory got a hold of
incredible.
that film, and he brought it to the Geraldo Rivera show in, like, what was it, like 1970 something. I think the murder was in 63.
Yeah.
And I think he brought it on the Geraldo Rivera show. 75. How about that?
Hey, man. And you know what? And knowing that it played on Geraldo more than makes up for the Al Capone's vault fiasco.
Geraldo used to be legit, man.
He was that guy.
People don't realize Geraldo
And
was
then
super legit.
Dick
He was
Gregory is a king.
journalist.
Dear
He was
God.
amazing.
Dear God.
Dick Gregory was amazing. I mean, he was an activist before anybody even knew what the fuck that meant. And as a comedian, for him to be appearing on this show, Geraldo Rivera, beautiful hair. God, look at his hair. And Dick Gregory, looking young and handsome. And he brings this out and explains to people, hey, it is highly likely that the president got shot from the front. And look at his head go back and to the left. You see his brain spray and the blood spray out of his head. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. When they played it, people were stunned. And you could clearly see, you know, him grabbing his neck. Like, you could see the whole deal. It's a fucked up video. And it's amazing that if we didn't have this video, we would probably have a completely different narrative of what happened to Kennedy. One guy with one camera opened up the possibility that there was a massive conspiracy that killed the president. And it led to the release of countless books and so much speculation.
How many files? Like, there's still. Like, what's the timestamp before all like the files around the case?
Well, some of them were released fairly recently.
they came out like last year or maybe even this year.
And I don't even remember. Look at that. Boom, back and to the left. I don't remember what the conclusion was.
Oh, I just missed it. Rewind it.
Yeah.
It's so grainy.
Yeah. Here, watch back and to the left. Watch here. Eddie. Here comes the spray. Bang.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. The way his head throws back, it seems very likely that he was hit from the front. However, it's also possible that he was hit from the back and that his body just spasmed that way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no one really knows.
Yeah. Have you seen Jackie, the movie Jackie?
No.
They capture he captures like that moment. You know, it's for the film, but in such a like. It's a beautiful, really beautifully captured moment that he kind of plays throughout the film. That's like you just for that alone. I thought the movie was beautiful and very underrated, but he captured it really well.
Yeah, it's a crazy moment in history. You know, they assassinated the president. It was caught on film. But again, if Dick Gregory didn't get that video footage to Geraldo Rivera, is this in the movie? Like, oh, Jesus Christ!
Damn.
Yeah,
What in the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Was she picking up his brains?
No, that's not true. You know, Lenny Bruce had a whole fucking bit on that.
I heard that.
He had a whole bit on that
just saying,
because they tried to say that she was picking up his brain. She was running away. She knew that he was dead, and she was escaping. She was climbing off the back of the car to escape. And then the Secret Service was behind her, and he tried to help her.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Crazy, dude. There's also the difference in the autopsy. The autopsy in Dallas, the way they examined his wounds in Dallas versus the way they described him in Bethesda, Maryland, when they flew him to that hospital, completely different.
Really?
Yeah. They turned the entry wound into the neck which they said was a bullet hole. They turned that into a tracheotomy wound. They changed the way they thought the entrance wound to the head was. Yeah, there's a lot of weird fuckery that went on between Dallas and Maryland. And then there was also generals in the room that were there that wouldn't allow doctors to come and do certain parts of the autopsy. There's a lot of weird shit.
Wow.
I mean, also, it's the president. You have to realize the president of the United States is shot. It's top secret. They
Yeah,
don't know
no, I get
what else
that
could
aspect of
happen.
it, but just like to not have the files line up, but then release both files. When were they released? Like, was that like?
Listen, there's a great book on it. The book's called Best Evidence. It's by a guy named David Lifton. And I fucked up once and read this book before I went on stage. I was I was working in Philly, and I was on the road.
Yeah.
It was like, I was young, and I didn't understand, like, you got to put yourself in a good frame of mind before you do stand-up. And I was reading this book, freaking the fuck out. I was like, oh, my God, they shot the president. Like, this is real. They killed the goddamn president. And I went on stage, like, super bummed out. And I had to explain to the lady that ran the club, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
just read this
This won't
thing.
happen tomorrow, because I was there for the whole weekend. I'm like, I read this book. And she's like, don't read that book tomorrow. I was like, I won't. I
Oh man,
promise.
going on stage bummed out is the.
I gotta pee.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, I've done
zaps
that before, dude.
I went up. I remember one time. It was. I mean, this is the craziest set ever. I'm at Baltimore Comedy Factory, which is already, just with my style in that club, already shouldn't be a thing that happens.
Well, you gotta find that out the hard way.
Already
though.
that, but whatever. And I'm there, and also my friend Angelo had just passed away, and I was going through. We were talking about like kind of those depression. I was like trying to make sense of that, coupled with it was right after like Christmas and the holidays, so I hadn't gone up for a few weeks. So being rusty, depressed at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. Is a combination that led to like it almost. I remember experiencing it from up here.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's one of those things that you experience where you're just kind of looking down at it, just like, huh. This is it.
Going on stage
Just a
after
wave
something
of-
terrible.
Yeah, no, it zaps you, especially if you're, if who you are in your act is so reliant upon.
Having fun.
Yeah, or a truth to the presentation is has a certain amount of truth to it.
Right. Where
You
you
know.
are right now. Like,
Yeah,
what's
where
actually
you are
going on in your mind.
Yeah, which is also a thing I always have to guard for me because it's so I really absorb. So like I'm reacting to by exactly how I feel
Right.
now. Yeah.
I worked with JB Smooth once. We were working in a college in New Jersey, and it was real hard to get to. And this is back before GPS.
Mm-hmm.
We just had directions written down on paper, and he was real late, like a half hour late plus, maybe even more. And the show was supposed to start at 8. It was already 8:30, and he wasn't there. So they said, look, just have a seat in the green room and wait, and, when he gets here, we'll put him on. So I go, okay. So I have a seat in the green room, and I'm watching this show, and it's a documentary on these fires in Malibu that devastated Malibu back then, you know, and fucking burnt all these houses down, and these people are weeping and crying, and they're looking for their dog. They're like, Rusty, where are you, Rusty? And then this guy, he's a firefighter, and he comes out, and he didn't even lose his house. He was just taking care of all these people that did lose their houses, and he built this house, and it was like his life savings, and and his neighbor's house is gone, and his house was spared, and he's just weeping. This guy's just openly weeping. And then the director of entertainment, whatever it is for the college, comes in and goes, well, JB's not here yet, so I guess you'll just go on first. And when he gets here, you'll go on. I'm like, okay. So we're going to bring you up now, okay? I was like, okay. And I just went up and just ate shit.
Yeah.
I was so depressed. I
Yeah,
was
of
just
course. I mean,
thinking
that's-
about this fire and all these people burning dogs and,
Did you talk about that? on stage?
No, I was terrible at the time. I didn't know what I was doing.
You ready for some comedy?
There's that moment when you're a young comic. You only been doing, at the time I'd been doing comedy like 4 years. When I would go down with the ship 4 years in, there was no coming back. Like once I bombed, if I was doing pretty good and then I started bombing, there was no recovery.
Yeah.
I never recovered.
Yeah. This is just like I've already given you my best.
Well, it's also I didn't have the mindset. I didn't know how to recover.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to step back and reassess.
And you think about these fires, man.
I was so depressed.
It's a lot.
You just can't watch something like that before you go on stage.
Yeah, I mean, and then not also, it's also that learned thing of how to find the best of where you are.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But like, yeah, before having that.
Stay out of the weeds, man. Don't talk to anybody that's depressing. Don't do anything depressing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, people like to talk. Like, more than that, I'm actually more affected by, I remember like starting out and going on to clubs and like people, the booker or whatever likes to come in and give you the rundown of the room and the whatever. And I'm really bad at that. Like, I'm bad at like, don't give me the information. Like, again,
right.
allow me to react to whatever is out there and whatever's going on. And like, you don't need that thing. Like, let it get in my head as I'm in my head.
Right, you don't want to hear, okay, there's a bachelor party in table 2 and they're really rowdy and we're going to try to talk to them first. So just try not to react to them.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll tell you this as you're being introduced. They'll hold your arm.
Yeah.
Jerrod, just want to let you know, we've got it. We're going to handle it. The bachelor party, we've got it under control.
And to, like, they do it on, I mean, if you're doing, you're doing press for certain things, like most things, they try and do like a pre-interview and the thing, and it's all just these things that like just rings out anything organic.
Any realness.
Yeah.
Any spontaneity is squeezed out by those pre-interviews.
But
and you're doing it with a producer and like, do you have any stories, funny stories? Like,
I don't know.
Do I? I'm not sure. The worst, you ever gone on one of those radio shows where they want you to do your bits?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's some.
Those are deaf.
I hope somebody recorded. There's some great 6 a.m. me in Indiana just refusing.
Bob and Tom show? Did you do that?
I think I did Bob and Tom. I'm pretty sure I did Bob and Tom.
I did that too, and the fucking producer lady got very angry at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why would I do that?
Yeah. I think it was a lady. It might have been a dude.
But like it is that. But again, man, it all goes to like perception. Like what people make of comedians.
Yeah.
And what the expectations are when you go out and you do these things, like what people's expectations are. Like you gotta like it's up to you to like change it.
Yeah.
Like to change that thing. It's just like, all right, well look, hey Bob and Tom.
Yeah.
Nice guys. People do their bits. That's just not a thing that I do.
Yeah.
We'll have a conversation.
Yeah, and you try to pretend that a conversation can't be entertaining.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, again, like it's not even that they do it. It's like it has to be tailored to you. Mm-hmm. You can't do the thing. You can't just fill into the mold of comedian.
Right.
It's just going to make the exact same thing over and over.
Well, the art form is just very underappreciated because it seems like we're just talking. It seems like anybody can do it. I talk too. You talk, I talk.
Yeah.
It's not like we all play guitar, so you see someone go up
there and
shred.
Your friends from back home think they could do a pretty good job.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody's been funny at one point in time. We've all hung around with somebody who said some hilarious shit. We're and and that feels good, right? It feels good when they do that. That when they say that and they get that feeling like, damn, I just made everybody laugh.
Yeah.
We've all felt that.
Chase it,
and we probably felt that before we ever did comedy. So they see you on stage and they see you killing and they say, I could do that shit. He's doing that, but he's doing what I do. I could do that. Yeah. And they get it in their head. Jamar could do it. Why the fuck can't I do it? Yeah. They get it in their head. Yeah. Like he's just talking. He's not doing backflips. He's not surfing 80-foot waves. But you know what I mean? They think what you're doing is stuff they do.
I had a cousin like, I'll bring like Jeremy out. Cousins out, whatever. I bring him out to like the club sometimes or whatever. I brought him to an open mic one time, and I go up and I say, "Hey man, it's an open mic, man. If y'all want to go up," I was like, "You should." I just want to see my boys do it or whatever. So my cousin Jeremy was like, "Yeah, I'll do it, whatever." And he's like, "I could do that shit." He gets up and he does good. He's a funny dude, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, now do that shit every day for 10 years.
Oof.
And you know what? And look, the reality is some people are good. I'm sure, you know, some comedians started just by being like, oh, I can do this shit, and then they did, and then they were great at it.
100%.
And you know, and that can happen. It's just that if you are gonna do it, like anything, you know, if it is like what you're choosing, it's just like make sure that the articulation is yours and interesting, and you know what I mean. Like I think that's kind of the goal. Like however you get into it or whatever inspired it or whatever. Like if you are doing it, do it.
Yes.
You know, like do it and like do it at its highest level if you can.
Yeah, it's just I think stand up, like you were saying, it just doesn't get the respect that other art forms get because there's no like if you see someone play guitar, play the drums or something like that, you don't have any illusion that you can go up and do exactly what they do. But a lot of people have the illusion in their mind that they can go on stage and be funny. Yeah, because they're just talking.
To even just be interesting, to be in, you know what I mean, to be anything in a room. But a lot of it, you know, part of the reason for the perception is the things that we accept. Yeah, you know, like it really is that. Like a lot of the things that we accept contribute to, like, oh yeah, everybody, like you know, we make it. Like we allow ourselves to be presented like, you know, court jesters.
Right.
You know?
Well, and it's one of the rare things that anybody can try. Right, you can go up open mic night and try. Yeah, and you know while you're up there doing stand up, somebody who's a professional might drop in and pop. You know, Chappelle might show up and do a set. Jeff Ross might go up there. Dom Herrera might show up. People show up and do sets and share the stage with you. And it's your first day. Right? That's a rare thing. Like that doesn't take place in music or anywhere else. Where you get an open mic night and there's 30 people doing 3 minutes. And anybody could be one of them. Yeah. It's weird.
It's funny.
So, homeless people.
Yeah, a lot of homeless people, right? A lot of sketchy fucking weirdos that touch the same mic as you. You know?
That same mic. It doesn't change.
It doesn't never get cleaned. Nobody cleans that Comedy Store mic. You got an intense immune system from working at that school.
No one's taking a Clorox wipe.
Who the fuck is cleaning anything at that place? They barely clean the tables. That place, they just deliver drinks and keep the party rolling. That's part of why it's so good. It's just a grimy joint.
Fucking gutter, man.
That's a grimy joint.
Thick layer of humor that's covering everything.
Oh, for sure, man. I think when they changed out the improv and they swapped that lab for that back bar and they put that bar in there and it's like, it seemed like they like removed a body part. It's like,
how they got it now?
Yeah, but I mean in the way that like the energy went away.
Yeah, it was this kind of Miami infusion. So I feel like a nightclub in Miami.
It was an Encino restaurant bar. That's what it was like.
Yeah, it was like just with the sofas and the just like weird. Like you know what this room needs? A place for people to lounge more.
Yeah. It just they kind of figured it out now. They got little shows that they do there. It's kind of interesting. But it used to be cool. It used to be like a room, like a separate room that was just comedy. And Ari Shaffir's whole storyteller show started out there. That's where he would do it. He would run it there because it was like a 70, 80 seat room.
Wait, you're talking about the lab?
The lab. Yeah, it used to be before it was the bar. It was the lab.
Because they redid it. Twice.
Yeah, I remember the lab.
We did it a couple times.
I was talking about the redoing of the main room. Yeah, the lab. The lab room. Yeah, I remember that could have a really good energy when it had like that really pink curtain.
Yes.
that was back there. Yeah, I remember. I feel like I remember doing like a Montreal
showcase. Or something
showcase there. That was like my first and only one. No, I did it twice that year. I remember doing it later that week.
Yeah. The improv is a weird spot. That hallway when you're waiting to go on, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah,
you're stuck in the hallway, people walking by, and they're like, hey, man, let me talk to you about something. Like, I'm going on stage right now. I got to go. Hold on, let me get a selfie. Like, they could touch you, like, right before you're going on stage. It's, again, that never happens with Gary Clark. He's never about to go on stage. There's some dude in the hallway going, yo, Gary, let me get a selfie.
You're away from it. You walk out and show himself.
That's part of the reason why it's interesting. It's part of the reason because you're like one of them. but it's also part of the reason why it's a fucking weird art form.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's a weird, and at its best, it's so interesting, and like, you get a lot of perspective and thoughts.
Are you doing a lot of sets these days? What are you doing?
I haven't gone up. Really haven't gone. I mean, I've done maybe 2 or 3 sets in the past year and a half.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe that. And
the last time I saw you, did you do like 2 minutes and walk off?
Yeah. I was like, I'm good. I don't need this.
Why?
No, it's just not. It's not where ideas are going now.
Where's your ideas going now?
Film, like it's a lot of film projects and like some television stuff.
That just feels more normal to you?
Yeah, it just feels like the way of it. I mean, even, before, I had like a TV show, I would do a lot of thoughts would just go there, and I wouldn't do stand-up a lot during that. And like, I like to just focus and like put the energy where you feel the most creative. And so that's why, I mean, you could go up and I don't know, something about stand-up right now, it's simultaneously like, oh man, there's some really amazing things happening, and just kind of as a whole, it's just like a certain, I think it's going through like this growing phase, like this kind of identity thing, right? Because it's like, I feel like there needs to be kind of this overhaul, and even one in its presentation, and two, what the expectation of performer, audience thing, because it's a lot of like, I don't know, I'll go and I'll see a lot of like, Trump stuff and a lot of things, but it's like not like new perspective, and it's like, it's a lot of civil rights leaders, and it's a lot of, like a lot of things, and not even good civil rights leaders, just, talking points,
right?
And just kind of preaching it's a lot of preaching to choirs, and it's like, the whole thing is this unique articulation and like this unique thing that you're supposed to be bringing. It's show and tell. Like it is like, hey, I have this thing, I have this thought that I think is unique. I have this way of presenting this thought that I think is unique. And now, and again, it's profitable right now. This is the bubble where it is right now, right? If you go up and you speak for your group, or you speak in this type of way, you can get rewarded for it, and kind of these immediate rewards. So I understand it, but it really does kind of choke the art form. It chokes what's interesting about it.
I think there's just so many people trying to stand out, and it's so difficult to do that. And they find these paths, and one of those paths is to be someone who's like really moral and righteous, and has something to say.
But it's also under the illusion of being rebellious and edgy. It's under the illusion of these things, because it's like when Dick Gregory said the things that he said and the things that he said, there was real danger in a conservative country. There's real danger to a lot of things that he says. You get on stage and you're like, fuck Trump, in Los Angeles and New York City, where you're honing your skills, and it's just like, oh, well, good for you. That unique perspective you bring about how this is the worst of times.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a lot of that. There's a lot of voices, but there's a lot of great stuff too.
No, there is. There are unique, experience like that. That's the thing. It's just with anything. It's flooded right now.
Do you plan on going back? Do you have aspirations, or do you have a thought in your head, or do you just go with the flow?
Just kind of go with that. I mean, if I feel it and like thoughts come out that fit, or if I find a way to do it like a thing that maybe doesn't necessarily fit in with that, then maybe I'll do that. I'm open to it. I just don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what that is right now.
No, that's beautiful, though, that you have that sensibility, that you just, this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I like to do right now.
Yeah, and just kind of focus. I've been in more music studios in the past 2 years than I've been in comedy clubs.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you doing with music?
Just kind of there, just like...
Just hanging out?
Well, just, I like to talk about it, and you like kind of discuss it, and like, I've been lucky enough to kind of be around some like artists that I admire, and just like listen to that creation. Like I like the immediacy of that process like a lot. I like that. It's what I was saying. What I like about even here, it's like it's an art space that you have here where you can kind of create like in this immediate space, and like exactly how you see it comes out in that way, and you can record it and you can capture it like that.
Yeah.
And when your mind is in that space, you need to only do things that it can be good at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's a good. It seems to me as an outsider is that you found like your natural path. You found a natural path. Like you've made it in. You become successful. You're well known now, and you've got freedom. And you're just like, let me just find what am I into?
Well, I'm doing what I hope, like all of us are trying to do. Like the one thing that I've always done is exactly what I want to do. In the career, and it's not just by nature. It's not like, you know. And then it's just by saying, not doing the things. If it doesn't match, then not doing it. You know, like, and trying to have a vision of what the thing is and just making that right. And so like that's what like comedy at its best. Again, the medium finds you. Like it comes to you. You don't go to the medium.
Yeah.
You know, like the medium is meeting you. Like. And so many people are just like conforming and just it becomes the same thing. I don't know. It's a weird time.
Well, that's a good outsider's perspective. Like you're an insider that has almost an outsider's perspective because you're looking at it like you step back a little bit and you watch all the fucking hamster wheel, watch all the scrambling, watch all the sliding around. There's a lot of that, man. I mean, there's a lot of fake horse shit going on. There's a lot of people grabbing at straws.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's really noisy.
Yeah. But that's
really
just,
noisy.
there's so many opportunities, there's so many venues, and there's so many comedians. And it's also, comedy's so hot right now. It's like, it's such an exciting time for stand-up that there's so many people doing it, so you're automatically going to get, just like when you're trying out jokes, a lot of them suck. Well, when you're trying out comedians, a lot of them just, a lot of them ain't going to make it. I mean, this might be, in terms of like success to failure ratios, one of the most brutal art forms you could ever attempt to be a professional at.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's I mean, because you're going out there kind of naked with the thought and.
How many guys from your era, like when you started doing open mic nights, are doing well now?
Guys are right now really finding their kind of space, and guys are starting to get TV shows, and they're starting to get like guys that I remember seeing at like Mike's are really starting to do like it in the past couple of years is really like kind of hit. I was on this weird path trajectory type of thing. I kind of was just on the side of it. I feel like in this weird sense, and things kind of happened, and I kind of found an infrastructure that worked for me really quickly. You know what I mean? But like around now is the time I think that a lot of things are starting to happen for like guys that have been around. Like,
but if you were around 500 dudes when you first started that you knew regularly, maybe 3 are working now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Legitimately. Like if you counted all of them up over the first 10 years of your stand-up career, you got maybe 3.
That are doing what they want to do.
Yeah. Maybe 2 that are doing what they want to do.
Yeah. Maybe. It really is that.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal.
A lot of comedians operate in this space where it's like they don't know they could do what they want to do.
Right.
That's a big wall.
Yeah.
It's a big wall. I've seen a lot of people stop at that wall. People that that are just like still trying to figure out how to.
Right. The confidence to act on your actual instincts too, to do what you really want to do.
Which is so crazy because comedy, you would think that we'd be the ones that are closest to it because it's so instinctual and it's such a reaction. You know, like a lot of things you do is such a like when you discover you're funny through like. When you discover you can sing by preparing to sing,
right?
You know, you go and you prepare to sing your voice and you give it a shot, and you discover you're funny by just like, oh, what that would,
right.
Yeah, like you discover you're funny the way people
like, laughing at shit you said you didn't even know was funny.
Yeah, was that okay? Or by like a hunch that you know like that you have. So like it's so instinctual that you would think it would be more of that, like following your instinct, following your gut.
Yep.
Forging your own path.
But there's also, it's so scary in the beginning that once you find shelter, you hold on to that.
Yeah.
That's why those, the saddest comedians are the ones that they do stand up for 5 years, they develop a half an hour, and it never changes.
Yeah, you found
and
it.
They cling to that bitch like a fucking life raft.
Yeah.
And
people listen, man, people don't talk about how comfy glass ceilings are. It's actually surprisingly soft up there.
Yeah. But listen, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's do it. This is great.
What do you got going on? Do you promote anything? You got anything happening?
Drew's. I got to talk about Drew's special. Drew Michael. I meant to send that to you.
Oh, well, send it to me now.
I'll send it to you now. It comes out this weekend. It comes out Saturday. It's really fun. It's a comedian I love. I'm excited for people to see him. Directed a special. Did it without an audience.
Without an audience?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did you do it?
We shot it on a stage, just like on a stage. We kind of created the environment.
Wow.
And I really.
Whose idea was it to do it without an audience?
Mine. I think the thoughts work removed from it, and I'm really excited to.
Wow.
I'm really excited to capture it like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even really know what you call this thing, but I'm really, because it was like when I first saw him.
Is this a trailer?
Yeah.
Person I get close to. Something's got to give here. Because after a while, like, the thoughts get weird.
My share of the heartbreak, like the whole thing. I just bounce back.
I don't want to date someone I don't love. I love my mom. She's single, too. Not that it matters. And people are like, what? And you're like, oh. Look at that.
August 25th on HBO. That's interesting. You know, those shows, those sitcoms that when they first started doing single camera sitcoms and they started doing them without an audience, people were like, what?
Yeah.
What the Larry Sanders Show? Or
Yeah.
One of those, you're like, what the fuck is this? There's no audience? How weird. Still funny, though, and people laugh at home.
Yeah.
You know, some of my favorite shows. You ever watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
I haven't really watched it, but it's
fucking hilarious show.
But that's
no
the
audience.
That's the thing. The thing is that it's like I think the thoughts, stand alone. They speak for itself. It was like
why not? Yeah.
Yeah. It's really exciting to just kind of put that into some living rooms. We'll see what people think.
Beautiful. Well, gentlemen, Jamar. Good
yes,
to see
sir.
you, as always, my
yes,
brother.
Sir.
Thanks for taking
Good
the
to
time.
see both of you. Thanks for doing this. Let's do it again, man.
Let's do it again. It's great.
We're in the neighborhood. Take care.
It's fun, man.